Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to Vahagraphy Talk number 50. This is number 50.
Number 50.
Yeah. Yeah, you're 50, man. That's a great number, man.
Yeah,
You
man, a
know?
nice round even number. I like
Yeah.
it.
Today's guest, we're going one-on-one with Mr. Z Wade Photo. Come on. Let's start off with your introduction, man. I want to hear you say
What's up, everybody? I'm ZWade, the ZWade, and ZWade Photo.
it. That's cool, man. So how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Beautiful day today in Kansas. Although the clouds parted just in time for the sunset, so that was a little unfortunate. That's usually how it goes in Kansas, man. It's like, oh, it's gonna be a good one, and you get out there, and it's like, where did the clouds go?
So, by the way, real quickly, guys, if you're watching the premiere, welcome. Leave a comment. This is going to be a good talk because I'm looking forward to this. Man, you're a character. First of all, let me tell you. Yeah,
Thanks, man.
you're unique. Your photography is great. Also, you have a personality, man. You're funny. You're a funny guy.
I appreciate that, man. I every time I go out and like shoot photography, it, with the exception of like bodyscapes, I'm way more serious. Like you wouldn't recognize me in bodyscapes because it's a super like professional setting. But when we're just out at like the meetups, man, I'm like cracking jokes. Like I did the wobble one day for the marbles, like a wobble, baby, wobble. And I was out there like with my camera smacking around and stuff, doing the wobble. I just like to have fun whenever I'm shooting, man. It's like because if you can keep the mood light, then the models relax, the other photographers relax, and then everybody just gets more creative because we're loose. And so I try to bring a little bit of that to my YouTube as well.
For those of you, well, for those people that don't know and have heard of you, why don't you go and introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, my name is Zach Going. I go by Z Wade on YouTube, the Z Wade, and every once in a while I'll put on a wig, and the community came up with the name She Wade for me. Um, and, that's just one of my goofy little new quirks. But I've been shooting photography at the making of this video for a decade now, 10 years. I've always been a Nikon shooter, although not dedicated, because I've almost every time I've made a big change, I've almost switched. And so whenever I first went full frame, there was a chance that I could go to Canon, but Nikon's colors and their glass has always been more interesting to me. I've always viewed Nikon as a lens maker first and a camera maker second. And I've always loved their glass, and I'm a bit of a glass junkie, or I used to be. And so I went full frame, stayed with Nikon whenever I was ready to go mirrorless. I thought about going to Canon as well, and Nikon kept me again. The files, man. It's the
So,
files.
so you've been a photographer for how long now?
10 years.
10 years. So your YouTube channel, ZWade Photo.
Yeah,
Uh, so guys, go ahead, check it out. You produce a lot of content, man.
I try to do at least two a week. I
Yeah.
try to. I try to get a nice backlog, because I never get burnt out on photography. But I do get burnt out on YouTube. YouTube is a lot of work. And there are weekends where I'm just like, man, I just want to like go to a local show, or I just want to like hang out with my dog or something. Like I don't want to produce content today. And so I make sure I have a nice backlog of stuff. That way I can have the breaks. And I think that's a key for anybody that wants to start a YouTube channel. If you don't have like if you work like a 9 to 5 like I do, it's like just grind it out for a weekend, get the content. That way you can kind of relax a little bit, and then it keeps it fresh. It gives you time to bring more of yourself into the videos because you're not quite so like by the script. You know what I mean?
So your YouTube channel, ZWade Photo. You know, Chuck from AP Studios started this thing where he uh, mention a channel and just let people know that haven't heard from this channel to check it out, subscribe, because Z-Wade, his content is great. You want to check it out. He, like I said in the beginning, he does great photography and he has character and he's funny. So if
I
you like
appreciate
all
that.
that, subscribe, man. Show some love. Go out there, Z-Wade Photo. um so 10 years in photography. Why photography? Why not something else?
You know, I actually I've always had an artistic drive, and it actually started with music.
Nice.
And whenever I was really young, like third grade, I plinked around a little bit on guitar, and I got real serious in like sixth grade. That's whenever I was just on the edge of my bed every day with the guitar. And as I got older, I wanted to do something else, and so I tried painting, and I was awful at it. And I tried spray paint art, and I was awful at it. I tried charcoal pens, everything. I wanted to do something physically artistic, not like audio artistic, you know. And I really just I sucked at everything, Hagen. And so um, I actually got into photography by accident because I'm a sucker for a good deal. And I went to Walmart for something unrelated, and it was after Black Friday, and they had these Nikon D3200s left over from the Black Friday sale. And I mean, they were dang near giving them away, right? They were dirt cheap. And I was like, oh, that seems like a pretty good deal. And so I bought this kit, set it off to the side, and I didn't touch it until like December, right? And so I was bored one day, and I said, you know what? I better take this thing out and see if I actually enjoy this, or I need to figure out who I'm going to give it to for Christmas, right? And so I took it out. I didn't even charge the battery. It had like maybe 20% battery in it or something like that. And I went out and I took one picture, and then I was like hooked. I thought I was the business. It was all in auto. So, of course, kit lenses are always sharp. And I was like, I've got this already. Like I'm a pro right now, you know? And so, uh, after about 2 months, I do what I do, and I tend to dive into things. And so I dove into photography really, really hard. And I basically, like, I had the advantage of whenever I dug in, I figured out that like I need to be shooting raw. You know, like I know some photographers that don't even know about raw after like a few years, you know. And I started doing that, and then I was like, oh, now I can get creative with my stuff, and it's just gone from there, you know.
Wow. So you just bought on accident. You just bought a camera, or no? You open up that camera, and
Yeah,
the rest is history, huh?
I was just hooked, man. I was hooked.
So what were you watching the channels and the YouTube channels and like watching what other photographers were doing,
Yeah,
stuff like that, or
yeah. I just started consuming a lot of you know, and actually what's interesting about me, and I feel like a lot of photographers don't do this, is I actually got into other photographers' work like early on, instead of just like consuming things on YouTube like by itself. And so I was learning on Facebook, or on YouTube rather, but I was getting inspired by actual work. And so I was going to like Barnes and Nobles and stuff, and just like grabbing books, you know, and flipping through them while I was drinking coffee to see what, like, you know, all the classic guys, because I didn't know who Ansel Adam was, you know, or any of these guys. And so I was just grabbing books, and I didn't even know who the photographers were, and just looking at their stuff. And I kind of, that's what inspired me to go out and like shoot things. But I never wanted
that's
to follow what they were doing, because I'm not a follower. Every time, every time something becomes a trend, I stop doing it. And so,
wow,
but
really?
I would get inspired. Yeah, like whenever orange and teal became a big thing, stop doing it. Instagram was filthy with orange and teal, and I just stopped. I was like, I don't want to do what everyone else is doing. But
What
that's
what
what inspired me.
what if that trend is making you money and that's your
Do it if it's making you money. If somebody asks for it, like, I mean, I'll give a customer whatever they want. But this year, 2022, I swore off work, and it's been the most beautiful photography year of my life. I just said I want to focus on my YouTube. I want to shoot what I want to shoot, and man, I'm just cranking out print worthy stuff, man. It's been wonderful.
So I saw your portrait work. You have a lot of clients. Do you I'm not sure if you shoot weddings or no?
I usually do small weddings, and I honestly I never want to do one again. Um, it's, I mean, some people are just, they just flow, and weddings. And I, you know, there was one wedding that I ended up having to kind of run, you know, because I wanted to provide a good photography service, but like everything else was, well, you know this, Vahagen, like it doesn't matter if it's your wedding or a friend's wedding or a client's wedding. Every single wedding almost doesn't happen.
Yeah.
on that day. It's like they always almost fall apart. And like me and the DJ were running around trying to get things organized. And I'm like, this is not my job. And I just never want to do it again.
So
But
you were the coordinator and the photographer.
yeah, it was terrible. And that was like a small wedding, and it was
Yeah.
still but I do have some great local photographers, and this is a good piece of advice. If somebody asks you to do a wedding and you don't do weddings, or you're not confident with weddings, send them to somebody that does good work. Be like, no, I don't, but I know a really good guy.
Yeah.
You know,
So if somebody asks you, "Hey, Zach, what's up, man? What type of photography do you do? What do you tell 'em? Portraits?"
I tell them that primarily I am a fine art nude and bodyscape photographer is my favorite thing to shoot, and there's not a lot of bodyscape in my area. But secondly to that, what I actually do most is portraits, and it's not your regular senior portraits. I put a lot of work into my portraits to make them look
Can,
unique.
can you explain to me what bodyscape is and that?
Yeah, so bodyscape is a form of fine art nude photography that focuses on the very close up. And so instead of having a full figure, where perhaps like the model's face is in there or her hair or something like that, it's basically without identity. And so what you actually focus on, and what's so amazing and challenging about it, and that's why I like it so much. It was the first style of photography that really made me scratch my head with the lighting and everything. Um, every single person is different. So some people, you'll bodyscape their collarbone because they have a lot of like shadow detail in their collarbone, or maybe somebody has a great rib cage, or maybe somebody has great back detail. And so it's smaller parts of the body and it's close up. And you kind of learn over time how to contort somebody's body. Like if you were to take a picture, they may look like this or something silly, but you're focused on such a small part that it gets all these different muscles and bones to flex and pop out. And then you angle your light to just have it kiss the subject instead of illuminating the subject. It just kisses it. And so you end up with these really wild kind of tilted lighting setups and stuff. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun, and it's really, really tough.
Hey, that's a niche, man. That's a niche that not a lot of people are doing right now, and you can
Well,
really do something with that, man.
exactly. Like I had to learn how to do it on my own because I had heard about it just in like a random Google search. I was looking for something new, and there's literally there's no support for it on YouTube really, because I mean you can't really get away with it
Mhm.
on YouTube. And there wasn't like a lot of support on Google. There's some sample images, but not a lot. There was nobody teaching the lighting. And so I had to have that awkward conversation with models of saying, hey, I'm new to this genre and I'll pay you this much money. And, because you can't just go into it because you're going to make bad pictures the first few times, because you're learning. And that's an awkward conversation to have with a potential nude model, is creating that understanding that I haven't mastered this yet. And so what's really cool about it is I spent literally thousands of dollars over a couple of years just troubleshooting this and doing it. And it was a lot of my friends that are already comfortable with me that were volunteering. And after a couple of years, like I had people coming up to me and saying, hey, I want to get in on this. How much do you charge? I'm like, not people are willing to pay me to body shape, but yeah, man, it's tough. If you know lighting, you'll get it. But at the time I didn't,
Wow, that's cool, man. So where are you based out of?
I'm in the Wichita, Kansas area. I'm in a small town about 20 miles east of Wichita, Kansas.
Yeah, I knew that, but my audience might
Yeah,
not
yeah,
know.
yeah. Yeah, it's super flat, bad for landscapes, but we do have a pretty fun YouTube or a photography community in Wichita. So
So if those of you don't know, ZWade shoots Nikon, and his primary camera is a Nikon Z9. And you have a backup, right? I'm assuming, yeah.
yeah, so if I'm running something that I deem to be like kind of serious, if I'm really putting in work, I take the Nikon Z9 and the Nikon Z6 II. But if I'm just going out and having fun, here lately I've been taking the Nikon Z9 and the Z5 because I've been working on a lot of Z5 content.
Oh, you just bought that Z5, right?
Yeah. Not long ago.
How do you like it?
I think that's the best value mirrorless camera across any of the brands, honestly.
Hey, man,
Um,
I'm using a Z50 right here.
yeah, it looks good too, man. It looks
Yeah.
good,
Look, I'm using the kit lens, so like you can pretty much zoom in and out.
right?
See how it gets dark?
Yeah, variable aperture.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this is a cool little lens, man.
but yeah,
Z50 is cool.
I like the Z5, man. Like I got started in full frame on the Nikon D610, which never got a whole lot of love.
Yeah.
Just because it was, I mean, for several $100s more, you can get the Z50, and YouTube was filthy with Z50. And so that's what a lot of people were buying, which, whenever people say that, oh, influencers and YouTube people don't matter, I'm like, yeah, they do, because the Z50, like, I think YouTube is the reason that blew up so hard.
Yeah.
But the 610 was an amazing camera. I rolled the shutter on one and ended up with another one. Like, I replaced it with another one. But the Z5 gives me those vibes. And just like with 610, there's not a whole lot of Z5, not nearly as much Z5 on YouTube, but just in the few Z5 videos I've put out, people are eating it up. And so, like, there's a want for it. So, like, people are interested in that camera. It's just not getting pushed. And I think it's a
Wait,
great value camera.
you're saying Z what? Z10.
No, the Z5.
Oh, I know that, but before you were saying Z10.
Did I really?
Yeah, what's
Oh,
a Z10?
I have no idea. That's this one right here. Look at it.
Uh,
It's like a brick. I was okay. So D610
oh,
didn't get a lot of love, and the Z5 doesn't really get like a lot of like love pushing it, But it's an awesome camera, man.
oh, wait a minute. I think you said 610.
Yeah. That's probably what I was
think
saying.
that's what I was like 610. I thought you were telling me mirrorless. But that's cool, man. So there's a lot of talk. We'll get into this a little later, but I want to talk about the Z9 lately. And I love that camera. We've been using that camera I've been using that camera for 7 months now, off and on. But the things feel solid, man.
Yeah,
and
they do.
It's hard to use something else after you've used that camera out in the field. So
yeah, I have to whenever I dual wield the Z6 II or the Z5, I have to remember that the Z9, and this isn't great for Nikon. Nikon, if you're listening, we need firmware updates. But it is almost shameful how better the Z9's is than anything else in the mirrorless lineup, and I have to forget that. And so I put all of my other stuff in like continuous autofocus and like eye tracking, and then I pick it up and I'm like, oh no, I'm single point with the Z5, single point autofocus. And so I've gotten to the point where I have to switch the Nikon Z9 to single point autofocus out of fear that I'm gonna start sucking at at single point, in tough situations. I'm like, I don't want to lose that part of me, because 10 years I've been a single point autofocus user. Even back in DSLR, I've always been a single point guy. Focus and recompose, baby.
So you, as far as the Z9 goes, what's your favorite thing about that camera? Like, I know there's a lot, but do you shoot your videos with the Z9 too, or do you shoot with the Z6 and Z5 right now?
I generally just use the Z6 II whenever I do the talking head style. If I'm doing products and there's like a camera off to the side, it might be the Z6 II is on me, just because I know what its eye tracking is going to do in video. And I'll do like the ZFC off to the side, or which that will be the Z5 soon. As I'm going to get rid of the ZFC soon. I don't use it much anymore. I got tired of crop sensor stuff. So, but that's generally how I set up my videos.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
And your other question was, what's my favorite Z9 thing?
What excites you about the features of this camera? There's many.
I feel like the natural response would be like some kind of feature like the eye tracking or something like that. But being the notorious pixel peeper that I am, I of all the cameras and all the lenses, everything I've been through, I feel like the Z9 is the most beautiful portrait camera as far as its output goes that I've ever seen. And that's something that I've been talking about lately is with the Z7 and the Z7 II, it's the same megapixels, but megapixels aren't everything. The sensors render differently. And some people don't believe me. I don't think the Z9 is as sharp rendering as the Z7 II, but it renders portraits on a completely different level. They just have like a beauty to them, right? Like the fall off of the shadows almost give me like a medium format feel. Like the transitions are so smooth from that sensor that it's like I love the Z7 too. And if I just had endless amounts of money to throw around, I would get one and just shoot like landscapes and street photography with it and architecture. But for the Z9, like to put out portraits the way that it does, it's like I don't want to shoot portraits with anything else. It's so beautiful. The skin tones are perfect, you know. And like I said, that medium format is just it's so smooth in the transitions of the tones, man. It's just so gorgeous.
Yeah, you're talking portraits now, man. We've been hearing birding, we've been hearing birds and
Yeah,
all this stuff online.
action,
And, yeah,
sports. Yeah.
and but you're talking something. You're talking my language now because
Yeah.
I love shooting people.
Right.
But yeah, this camera is just remarkable. My favorite thing about the Z9, and you'd be surprised at what it is, but my favorite thing is just the way it feels in my hand.
Hmm.
Not not even getting into the features. I start off by just observing how this camera feels
Yes.
in my hand because we're going to be married to it. I'm going to be married to this camera for years.
Yeah.
So if it doesn't feel good, if there's something I don't like about it, I'd rather go and see which camera feels good in my hand,
Yeah.
balance and everything. So before I even get into the features, luckily I'm a Nikon dude, so
Ergos are always good on Nikon. Like they always have like a good and see I have small fingers, and so for a camera to feel good in my hand is actually a lot to ask, and I know that, you know. Um but what's crazy about the Z9 in my unboxing video, I was talking about like how I was actually really worried because I have like short fingers.
Mhm.
I mean, I have a death grip in my short little Vienna sausage fingers, but I was worried about how it was going to feel. And in that video, I was like, okay, whew, like it feels okay. But over the next like week, I would just be like sitting at home, like watching TV, and I just wanted to hold my Z9. Like I waited so long for it. And the more I just held it, the more I felt like I'm growing roots in this thing. Like I love the way it feels now. Like at first I thought it was just okay. It's bulky. I have small hands, but I just wanted to like have my hands on it. Like I just wanted to touch it. And I was like, oh my God, I love this thing.
Hey,
It's like a cannonball.
it's great the way photography journeys just are. 10 years ago, you bought, or did you buy it, or was it a gift? Sorry.
No, I bought it. I bought it for dirt cheap, brand new, a D3200.
Okay, so you bought, yeah, that, and 10 years later, you're buying top of the line.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to even think that, and it's
Right.
like, right, the journey of photography. It's like it's crazy. You never knew what you wanted to do. You were like me. I was into music,
Hmm.
and I got into it. I love it. Play the drums, and photography was my true calling. So here we are. But now with this YouTube thing, I'm gonna get into YouTube because you do it too.
Hmm.
Um, but a couple of more a few other questions about camera gear,
Yeah.
real quick. You have the Trinity.
I do have the Trinity.
So my favorite lens right now from the Trinity is the 24 to 70. The 7200 is great. I haven't used it that much, but I've used a 24 to 70 2.8. I think that 24 to 70 is fantastic, man.
It's
What are your thoughts?
on the 20 on the whole Trinity or the 24 to 70.
Yeah, just 24
Just
70.
so the 24 to 70, I've said, I mean, I feel like 1,000 times on my channel, it's kind of unreal how sharp that is for a zoom, because coming from the DSLR days, that was a compromise that you made. You compromised like sharpness for the versatility and the convenience of being able to not have to move around as much, but get a large variety of shots. Now, the only thing that can rival the well, really the Trinity, the only thing that can rival its sharpness are Z glass, not even F mount glass. Like a lot of F mount glass is not even as sharp as that 24 to 70. And it's kind of crazy, you know?
Yeah, the I had Paul on the last talk.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry, Paul,
that was a
Mark.
great talk.
I
Or
keep
yeah, Mark.
I keep calling him Paul,
I did the same thing.
but Mark Coleman on, and he said that. I mean, he uses all the lenses because he sells
Mhm.
them, but you heard what he said. He said the Z glass is by far the best lenses that he's ever used.
They're shocking how good they are.
Yeah, so that's that says a lot because you got great lenses from Canon too. Sony makes good lenses, but I think for me Nikon is it as far as the mainstream camera market and the lenses, the autofocus lenses.
Hmm.
So the rest of the Trinity, the 14 to 24 is an interesting lens. It is sharp. I have both, but I tend to use the 14 to 30 more,
Hmm.
only because it's a little smaller.
Yeah.
But the 1424 is excellent as well. The 7200, forget about it. That lens rocks.
Well, for me, the 70 to 200, um, I describe that one as anything you could ever want out of a 70 to 200. It's sharp. It's fast. Especially on like this. Well, even on the Z6 too. And I had it whenever I had the Z6. It was fast then. You know, on the Z9, it's insanely fast. But that lens it doesn't strike a core with me as much as like my whenever I was in DSLR, I had the Tamron 70 to 200 G2, and that lens spoke to me. It had a kind of a it had a feel to it. The 70 to 200 Z, I feel like, is the best tool Nikon has ever made in 70 to 200, but it just doesn't. You know me. We've talked before. I'm a character guy, and that is a perfect tool, but it doesn't inspire me to shoot it. I use it for like a job.
Yeah.
You know.
What is your favorite Z lens from your lineup, from your kit?
Uh, the 50 millimeter f1.2 is my favorite. That lens is stupid. But I never leave the house without the 50 millimeter f1.2 and the 105 f2.8 macro.
Hmm.
I
Oh,
always have those. I will substitute with a third lens. Here lately, it's been the 14 to 24. I've been having a lot of fun with scenic portraits lately.
the 105 MC,
Yeah,
the MC Hammer.
yeah,
Yeah.
the MC lightweight hammer. That lens is, by the way, that lens is on sale again for anybody that watches this right now. At the making of this video, when it launches, it's under $1,000 again. If you don't get it, you'll never get it that cheap again, and it is worth twice that.
Hey
It
man,
is so good.
that lens doesn't get talked about.
I don't know
Have
why,
you
because
noticed?
it is insane how good that lens is. And you know what? I've been saying this, and I can't explain it, Bahagan. Oops. For whatever reason, on the Z9, that lens with eye tracking, I don't know why it's so much better than most of the other lenses, but it
Hmm.
finds and it locks on. I don't know if it's just because maybe the apertures of maybe it's just I haven't noticed that it's fluctuating between 2.8 and 3.5, and so it's easier to find or whatever. But man, it is so sick for portraits, which is right up my alley. I like macro too. I love macro. I don't think the Z9 is amazing for macro, but it's kind of an inconvenient macro camera just because it's huge, you know. But that lens is it's so versatile, man.
Dude, I just realized that lens is light. It's
It
light
is.
and
Yeah.
it's sharp.
Yeah.
And
My pencil cup right here is like the same weight.
yeah. And can you imagine taking the Z9? I mean, I have the lens too, but taking the Z9 and just recording these little like bugs and like at 4K 120 and just
Yeah, dude.
slowing it down, and
I
you can do
I need
some,
to I need to do that actually.
just slowing the stuff down, because 4K 120, I mean, you pretty much set. But yeah, that lens is killer. The 51.2, another lens that I have but I haven't used that much. And you don't mind the size and weight?
No, I've never really cared about that. In fact, the only time I've ever really cared about size and weight is where I was just mentioning like the Z9 with macro. It's just a lot. Like if you're I mean bugs are hard to do on a tripod, unless you've captured the bug, which I don't do that. Like because I don't want to hurt the bugs. And so for me macro often is propped up handheld, and the Z9 is very big and very heavy for that. And so but I still use it just because it's so good that I just deal with it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just deal with the size and weight.
Yeah, man. So yeah, just keep going, man. This photography stuff is fun. How do you balance your time from shooting for your channel and shooting for clients? I mean, I pretty sure you schedule it out, but is it
um
tough? What are you
well,
doing?
I actually don't do clients at all this year. um everything that anyone's ever seen on YouTube is actually stuff that I would be doing on the side. And so most of the content, especially this year, have been from like the local photography meetups. We have a really really good fun community of photographers in the Wichita area, and they just set stuff up, and I throw on my DJI action too onto my head or onto the camera, and I just I basically just run it, and I put the pictures across the screen. For me, it's more about balancing YouTube with like my actual like real job, because if I want to have like cool stuff to shoot and I'm not doing photography work, I have to make sure my performance doesn't slip at work because I'll be really doomed since I'm not doing photography work. But
Mm.
I generally make as much content as I can on Saturdays, and then Sundays I usually spend the morning editing, and then I kind of relax on Sundays. So
So the reason why you don't take client work right now? No time, or
I
just taking a
uh
break?
I have plenty of time. I wanted to take a year. Like honestly, like COVID kind of burned me out. Like a lot of photographers lost a lot of work during COVID, and I actually had probably my busiest years during COVID. And I'm not ashamed to admit this because I mean it's an honest business, but OnlyFans exploded during COVID. And I had a lot because I do a lot of like artistic work. I'm already in the community with this reputation as somebody who's trustworthy to work with. And so I benefited from that. Just instead of people approaching me be like, hey, let's do an art shoot, they come up to me like this. I don't want my name on that kind of work because it would conflict with the genres that I shoot. And so I'm like, yeah, so a set price, we shoot for an hour, I edit them until they're done, and I basically sign all of the rights away. They're yours. Here's a piece of paper saying that you're allowed to profit off of my work. It's no longer my work. You have it. Don't mention my name. You mention my name, I'll see you in court because you signed a paper saying you wouldn't.
Wait, so just
You know,
pay me for my time,
pay me for my
and
time,
that's it. You're
and you come
done.
you come back if you need some more. I accept cash or PayPal,
Now, what
and
again? What type of work is this?
OnlyFans work.
Oh no! I heard
Yeah,
OnlyFans. I wasn't sure. I
yeah.
didn't want to like ask you, but OnlyFans work, huh?
Yep. I did a ton of it, and I actually got burnt out in 2020 and 2021. I haven't done any bodyscape this year. I just got burnt, you know. Uh
ZWade shooting OnlyFans.
that's right, man.
So
Pays good.
these girls, what, they make money?
Oh yeah. I mean, well some of them do. Some of them don't. OnlyFans is actually a lot like YouTube. And it's like
YouTube.
if you don't keep up the consistency, you're done. You know?
But
But
I
no,
mean,
I did really well in COVID, man. People had nothing else to spend their stimulus checks on, I guess.
well,
I
you're
don't know.
filming it for them, but you're doing photos or videos too.
Um I did some video, but I'm
Oh,
not
it's for
much of like a vid.
photography.
Yeah, it was photography.
So
Um
OnlyFans, what do they use it for? Their thumbnail or what? Because I know OnlyFans is a video
no
service, no?
no. It's well, it can be whatever you want, but generally the most successful channels, it's basically adult oriented. It's not,
No,
most
I
of
know
it's
that.
not classy. Photos, video, you can do whatever you want on it. They were hiring me for photo work.
But
So
my question is, because excuse me, because I really I don't know much about OnlyFans, only that it's like you know tr- X-rated amateur videos, but like for stills they would use it for thumbnails and is there
no.
galleries on OnlyFans too?
Yeah. It's actually
Oh,
for all of the models that I worked with, it was almost all photos, not
okay,
video.
got it, got it, got it,
Yeah,
got it.
yeah.
Because see, that's how much I know about the site.
Yeah.
I
I
didn't know there
didn't
was galleries
I
on it.
didn't know anything about it either until COVID. I had somebody reach out and they like, I thought it was something like Model Mayhem,
Mm.
right? Because a lot of the models that I knew were like, yeah, I started like an OnlyFans. I'm like, okay, well, you're like you're an actual model that does actual work, so maybe it's like Model Mayhem, which had died off. I
Yeah,
mean, I nobody uses Model Mayhem anymore, and so I was like, oh, maybe that is what filled the void.
yeah.
And then I got a link. I was like, okay, because like whenever I shoot somebody new, I don't want to shoot what somebody else has shot, and so I don't want to shoot an outfit that you already have, or I don't want to shoot a location that you've already been. I want me to be unique as your photographer, right? And so I was like, well, where can I see work from like other photographers? And she was like, she sent me a link to her OnlyFans, and it was not what I was expecting, Bahagan. So I was like, okay, so that's what this website's about. And I just found a way to make a ton of money from, charging for my services.
Yeah, are you a fan of Matt Granger then? Because
Uh,
he shoots a lot of nudes.
yes, he does. And he's actually, he's involved, as far as I know, he's involved with some of the higher end, or not the higher end, but the higher percentile of OnlyFans models. He does work for them.
Hmm.
So, but no, that style of photography. See, me this year, what's working for me is I'm only shooting what I want to shoot. If I don't want to shoot it, you owe me something. Whether that's you come and you come and put on this outfit for this photo novella that I have in my head, right? The
Hmm.
story that I have. You do that first because I'm not going to get burned, and then I'll do whatever you want
I'm not gonna get.
for. Yeah, like I'm not going to get burned. That's happened before. You do something, you do like a shoot for me, something that I can turn into YouTube content, preferably, and I will do whatever you need for free within a reasonable time frame. You're not going to get me out for 7 hours doing something. I'm not going to shoot your wedding because you did this YouTube video about
Yeah,
composition,
yeah.
but
You reminded me of something when you said I don't want to get burned. One time I was I was talking to this model and I was like, okay, hey, I don't mind photographing her, and she needed pictures, right? And so she's like, well, how much do you charge? The back of my mind, I was like, should I charge or should I not? Okay, you know what? I'll give her a price. And she said, you know what? I'm just a student. I just need these pictures, but I can't afford that. And by the way, the price was very low. And she goes, how about if I pay you with lunch? After lunch, after the shoot, we go have lunch
oh,
and some drinks, right? I'm thinking, all right. So I go, okay, that's fine. I get good shots of, she was attractive, and B, I get some food and drinks, right? So,
right.
so we shoot. I'm hungry that day because I'm expecting to get a nice lunch. So the shoot is done and this and that, and she gets a phone call. She goes, is it okay if we do this next time? I'm so sorry. I have to really go. And I'm like, man, are you skipping out on my lunch here? I'm like, fine, So I laughed it off, but it was funny. I thought you reminded me of that day. So
I have, I get prompted in the Saturday streams, which by the way, for everybody watching, if you haven't gone and checked out AP Studios on Wednesdays and Saturdays, we have a lot of fun in there. In Chuck's stream is definitely more family friendly. There's not a lot of swearing and stuff like that. But I've been prompted in there of some like really good stories that like I just can't tell them on that panel. And I've debated whether or not I want to tell those stories on like my own channel. But you come across stories like that. It's like, yeah, like I'm ready for lunch, and she's like, sorry, and you're like, I think I'm so hungry.
well, I
But like
gotta
I've
go.
I've had some really like gross things happen in this in the studio. I've had some really like weird things happen out at like more public nude shoots and stuff like that. And you just can't, you can tell them to your friends, but like you just can't tell them on YouTube really.
Yeah, because if it goes on here, then it's whatever goes online, it lives forever. So
It's forever. And I don't want anybody on my channel being like, oh, I thought he was a wholesome guy, and here he is telling this crazy story.
But you know what? If somebody pisses me off and does something that really angers me, I don't mind telling the story because if
Oh
I
yeah,
get
yeah,
if
yeah.
I get screwed over by somebody in photography, I'll tell the story because I shouldn't feel embarrassed to telling the
No, no,
story.
absolutely not.
It's
And that
them that
creates
should feel embarrassed that they did that to me. You get it?
and it creates a lesson for other photographers, especially on YouTube. It's like,
Yeah.
this is what led up to me getting burnt, and this is, these are the signs of, Vahagan's about to get burnt, and then he got burnt.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much don't mention names, of course, but
Hmm.
whatever. You just tell your story, and I don't care really. The stories that I've told are all true, and there was one story that I told on my channel where I actually called a client, and I'm like, "Hey, can I tell the story?" Because he was kind of a cool dude,
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Yeah," no. He goes, "No, go for it." He's like, "Send me the link after. I wanna check it out." I'm like, "All
That's
right."
something else that I'm kind of worried about with like these stories is like I would never throw anybody's name out there, but anybody, like if my channel gets big enough, I'm not even at 1,500 subs, but if it gets big enough, especially in this area, I'm going to be getting some stuff like, I know you were telling that story about me. It's like nobody would know until you started bugging me about it.
Well, you
But
should just say, "Well, you know what? No, the funny thing is that happened again, with me, and it was
right.
similar." You just tell them that.
Yeah.
It wasn't you. It wasn't you. Trust me, it wasn't you. I even forgot about what happened with you.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. Why did you
Yeah,
remind me?
why are you reminding me now? So, but yeah. But by the way, you mentioned your YouTube channel. Where else can people check out your work? Your website, your Instagram?
Yeah, ZWadePhoto.com. It's about to get a refresh of the images because I've got a lot of good stuff, but I basically limit myself to 10 to 15 photos in 4 categories. And they will be not necessarily my best work, but my favorite work of those 4 categories. And
Are
so,
you implementing? I mean, you have an Instagram too.
well, I have an Instagram, but I don't give it out because I'm not active on it. I have a huge problem with my work being cropped.
Got it. Yeah.
It's done whenever I export it. It's the way I wanted it. You
So,
know.
so your YouTube channel and your website. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, what
Yep.
do you use? Squarespace.
Yeah. I built it with Squarespace, although I'm not sponsored by Squarespace, even though they sponsor everybody. Nobody's reached out to me. Maybe it's one of those you just go to like an email list and it's like sign up here. Like, but
Yeah. No.
yeah, it,
Um,
it it works for me.
that's cool, man. So you mentioned Chuck's AP Studios.
Hmm.
Hey, that's where I met you. You
Yeah.
seen that?
I watched your videos before I met Chuck. Actually, really close to like because Chuck just emailed me out of nowhere. By the way, anybody who hasn't seen it, Chuck, that is AP Studios. Um, he emailed me like randomly one day and said, "Hey, I like your channel. I'd like to have you on the show." And I was like, "Sure." I had just started seeing your stuff pop up in my feed, and
That's crazy.
that's the weird thing about YouTube, is like you had a pretty good following at that point, but it just decided to suggest you to me. It's
Wait,
it's like, so the algorithm must be broken a little bit, because we both love Nikon, we both have YouTube channels, and then it just randomly one day, decided to show you to me for the first time. And you have
yeah.
stuff going back like years,
No, no, not that long.
I thought I saw something from 2 years ago.
2 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 years.
It actually just suggested me a 2-year-old video, and I didn't know who it was. It was just coming up next, and so I hit it as I was like brushing my teeth, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds like Vahagan." And I looked at it, and you didn't have sunglasses on, and I was like, "Oh, he looks so different without sunglasses."
Oh wait, this is after you knew me.
Yeah, well, this was just the other day that I saw that one, but
Oh, okay, okay.
I had just discovered you whenever Chuck reached out to me and had me on his show, and I think it was just a few streams later is when he started adding more and more people to the panel, and eventually, like, we both happened to be on there.
So no, oh, I thought you saw one of my videos before you even know who I was. That's what I thought you were
Oh yeah,
saying.
no,
That was
I actually had just subscribed to your channel like really close to the time that Chuck invited me on for the first time.
oh, okay, okay. Yeah, I met Chuck. Uh, how did I meet Chuck, man? I think he emailed me and asked me if I would come on the show. Okay, same thing with you.
Yeah.
Same story, but he actually invited me and I went on. We did a one-on-one and it was kind of cool cuz um I liked his vibe and I'm like and then he started doing these live streams
Hmm.
and I was like, wow, this community is really building up,
Yeah.
and then one day he told me that I gave him like it was because of my talks that made him actually do these live streams.
Yeah, because he started off just doing videos initially,
Videos.
like years
Yeah.
ago. I think
Dude,
he's got stuff from like 4 years ago.
it's such a trip when I go back and watch his old stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I like that. He sits there, he talks about the D850 and
Yeah.
these video style one like just him in the camera.
He's
I
got
want
that
to
he's got that real serious demeanor that it's like, like I don't know, he's just got like a real stern look whenever he's talking about it. And I'm like, dude, that's a vibe in and of itself.
Yeah, and this is way before the live stream. So when we were having a discussion one day, and he's like, "Yeah, because of your Vahagraphy talks, I started doing live streams." I'm like, "Really? That's cool." Well, I'm glad. I'm glad I could motivate you. And now his live streams are really taking off, and good
Yeah.
on him. It's really getting popular, and I just want him to go over that 1,000 mark.
I do too, man. I want him to get there.
And yeah, he's great. Everybody on there, like Jeffrey's a hilarious man.
Yeah.
He has this dry humor.
Yeah, he's very, very dry. But see, that's what's so funny is because he'll crack a joke, but the tone is the same, and that is what is so funny about it. It's like the joke is good, but his tone is the funniest thing.
John Ishii too, man. He's funny, man.
His wife is currently my favorite photographer right now.
Mm.
Oh man, her work on Instagram is beautiful.
John Ishii, yeah, no, he's. I met him through Matt Granger actually.
Do you know Matt Granger?
I've had him on my show twice, but I don't know him like that.
Oh, I see.
He recommended. He was talking about John on our live stream,
Hmm.
and then I think John emailed me because he heard that, and he's like, "Hey, I'm the guy that Matt was talking about." I'm like, "Okay, cool." That's how I met him.
They're talented, man.
Yeah, he spends a lot of money on gear, man.
Oh yeah.
Stuff they got is like pricey.
Oh yeah, they got that Hassy stuff going on over there.
Yeah, so
Jealous.
yeah.
I would be a medium format shooter probably if I had that kind of money, or if Fuji would just change out their dang sensor on the 50s. Like, it's been the same forever.
Yeah. So you have a job.
Yeah.
You have a day job. You do photography. So you're not taking up clients right now. You're doing it
Nope.
for your channel and for the love of it, right?
I'm doing what I want to do.
Dude, that's awesome. Because the other day you put out a video on how you price your shoots,
Yes.
right? And
Yeah.
detailed, like everything is on a
That
spreadsheet.
was that was actually for what that was is I've been trying to find a way to kind of like come up with some like e-products that are just good forever. You know,
Mm,
stuff that I can make once, put the effort into now, and then just turn it loose. And so those videos were actually like I did a poll first to gauge to kind of see in our community who thinks their stuff is too expensive or who thinks their stuff is too cheap or who thinks their pricing is just like random.
uh,
And that was all part of like a marketing kind of thing
mhm, mhm.
to gauge. And so, but I had already had my pricing calculators built. And so I did that, let some time go by for that poll to kind of fill out, and then boom, I dropped those videos. This is a pricing calculator that I've used forever. I just made it look nicer, and
Yeah, man.
you can get it on my website if you want it. You know,
That's pretty detailed. Okay, this is how much this is how much it'll cost to rent my gear. This is the depreciation.
yeah,
That's cool, man. The way I am is okay. It's this much. You want it or not?
yeah. That's how weddings are. Like weddings are set by the area that you work in and how good you are. Right,
No,
your work
man.
compared to everybody
Even
else.
even photo shoots though. Like even if I go out and shoot photo shoot,
Hmm.
like okay, this is the price. Well, first of all, okay, the client tells me what they're looking for. Number one. Number two, location. How far are these places? Are we changing locations? How many hours am I gonna be here? You know what I mean? So because there's times where they tell you one thing, but then when you show up to the shoot, oh, by the way, can we go here real quick? Oh,
We
can
have
we do
four
this?
outfits. We didn't tell you. Four
It's
outfit
like,
changes.
man, it's like a lot of clients play dumb. I'll tell
Yeah.
you right now, they don't tell you everything. I had a client book me for a birthday, and I find out later that it's something like it's an event. It's it's the son's baptism.
Hmm.
Can you imagine? They booked me for a birthday. Oh, it's a house birthday. We're gonna cut the cake a few hours.
Hmm.
I show up actually a week before the event. They send me the address, like three addresses. I'm like, wait a minute. I thought this was a birthday at a house. So, okay. Address one is the church. Address two is the park location where we're doing portraits after. Address three is the reception hall. I'm like, hey, man, this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
So I call him back. I'm like, this is not cool. You
Yeah.
know, I thought it was a birthday. Um, and she was like, oh, I forgot to tell you, we changed our plans last minute. I'm like, come
Yeah.
on.
You don't no, you didn't change your plans. Like you basically introduced an entire new series of events, you know? Yeah, I've been, I used to charge by the package. The standard the package is kind of common in my area where it's like the smallest package is really kind of a bad value. The big package is kind of too much that nobody's going to buy it, and they're designed to bring you to the middle package. That's the most profitable for the photographer. It's a good value and everything like that. Kind of standard. I got burnt too many times. You go out to a senior photo shoot, and the last straw for me, uh, I went out as a $50 session fee or something like that. I thought it was local. Nope, it is 50 miles away. It is 50 miles back. So I drove 100 miles that day and they kept me out there for 4.5 hours.
See?
And then they ended up buying the smallest package. And so
Mm.
I did 4 hours worth of shooting, maybe 2 hours worth of editing, 100 miles worth of gas, and a kind of old F-150, 8 miles to the gallon.
Woo.
And I made the $50 session fee. I made like a $50 location fee, and they bought the mid package for $60. I
You
got
got
burned
burned. Yeah.
hard. I thought it
Yeah.
was in town, you know. And so after that, I said, nope, I'm working by the hour. You hire me for an hour, I shoot for an hour. If we're gonna go over an hour, I let you know. Be like, hey, we're getting over an hour. Let's shoot for another hour. Okay, you got money.
Yeah.
Here I am. You know.
Yeah, man, that's happened to me a lot. And for you new photographers out there that are just starting this, you're gonna learn this the hard way. Customers are uh, smart. The right word? They're not. They play smart.
Crafty.
Yeah, I mean they're trying to pull a fast one.
Yeah,
Not
always.
not everybody, because the cheap clients do that more often than the generous ones. I
Hmm.
really don't get a lot of demand from, like, they're not demanding when they're not cheap. It's funny how that works.
Hmm.
Like when they pay me my price and they're not demanding, like, you do your job the way you'd like to do it. You tell us. But it's funny because the cheaper clients are the ones that put you through the ringer, so.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I have the hardest time with like wealthy clients. For
Yeah.
me, like wealthy clients have always been the worst. And see,
Well,
whenever
wait. Well, wealthy clients are cheap. That's why
oh,
they're
okay.
wealthy, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a lot more luck with clients that show up, and you could just tell by like their ride that they're probably on the lower end of the economic scale. And that's the people I like working with because they show up fully willing to pay my full price because it's special to them to have like a like I've told the story of like the single mom that
Mhm.
pulled up in the hoopty, and like even though like it was apparent the situation, there's no dad in the picture. I mean, I can gauge what's going on, and I ended up just cutting them like a stupid deal. I didn't make it apparent that it was because of their situation, but I felt so grateful that even with where they are in the socioeconomic realm, they still see enough value in having pictures of their small little family that they're willing to pay my full price. And so I just told them, I'm like, yeah, that didn't take nearly as long as I thought, half off.
Yeah.
I would rather you have something special, you know.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
no, rich clients, they're like, how can we cut some pennies? Like, do you have to be there for the cutting of the cake? It's like, I think you want those pictures. Like, I really do, you know?
And then when you say no, I don't have to be there, but then the day comes and they say, "Well, you're not going to take pictures of the cake."
Exactly. I'm so glad I'm not working this year, man. It's been so beautiful.
That's why, what you should do is, for photographers out there, make notes. Even record memos. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know, like, just make notes, because clients forget stuff that it's convenient for them to forget.
Yeah.
They remember the stuff that they need to remember, as far as the time and how many hours they booked you for. They know about all that.
Oh yeah.
But when they want to forget, well, how much they owe you, or what the package was, or the,
Right.
the details of things that
I did
really.
give you 50% up
Yeah.
front. I'm pretty sure I did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's conveniently forget the clients. So just be aware of that, guys. I mean, I'm telling you, this is the one of the biggest reasons why people kind of get fed up with clients, is that they get tired of the BS, sometimes.
Photography clients are they're kind of unique. Like nobody goes. Well, I do because I don't like the medical system. But like nobody, like if a doctor's like, okay, I think we need to run these tests. Nobody's
Mhm.
like, are you sure?
Mhm.
It's a doctor. Like that profession, like you don't get questioned that
No,
much.
no, you don't, and they know what they're doing,
Yeah.
and it seems like some people, you know, they treat us like used car salesmen. No, I'm
Exactly.
serious.
They totally do. They totally do. Be like, well, what if I don't want a print in the wedding package? It's like,
Yeah,
no, it just comes with it. It's in there. Well, is
yeah.
it cheaper if you don't do the prints? It's like, no, this is something I provide to you as a thank you for hiring me. Like, I give you this print for free. But is it cheaper if you don't do that? Like, you're not listening.
Isn't it? Like,
It's a
it's sad.
gift.
It's sad though, right? Why do photographers have this reputation sometimes?
I don't know, man.
It's a
I
pre- it's a
guys,
pre- it's a prestigious thing, man. It was when the film
yeah.
days,
I
you know.
promise I can promise every wedding client that Vahagan knows what you want for your wedding more than you do, you know? And so let him do his thing. You hire
Yeah.
him for his look and for like the product that you've seen. Let him do his thing and tell him these are some specific things that I'd like, but let him work. Let him do his thing. It's going to
But
work out great.
here's one thing I'll tell you about that. The look. You reminded me something. So basically sometimes they see pictures online of, different people, different weddings, different banquet halls, different palaces, whatever, and their wedding is regular, not too fancy banquet
Hmm.
hall. The client is a regular client, you know what I mean? They're not models or bodybuilders, whatever. They're
Yeah.
just regular clients. And that's one thing, guys, you got to be careful about, is because when they see something online and they see their ordinary wedding, it doesn't look like the stuff that you have on your portfolio. Just make sure that, just tell your clients that, hey, every wedding is different, so.
Yeah. It's like, you see, we're not shooting in Honolulu and I'm not charging you $60,000 for this service. It's not going to look like we're in Hawaii. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen.
And you don't exactly look like Heather Locklear in her prime.
Yeah, somebody
So
brings you, be like, can you make my wedding photographies look like this? And it's like it's like Johnny Depp's wedding. It's like, no, because like your husband's not Johnny Depp. Like
yeah,
it's like this isn't a destination wedding.
I had a couple once. The guy was short and skinny, and she was, kind of plus size. So
Hmm.
it was like challenging because I had to, she saw all these images online, and I'm like, hey, you know what, guys? I already can already envision the shots. They're beautiful for you guys. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Love them for you guys because this is your moment.
Yeah.
No matter what you look like, no matter, doesn't matter. This is your moment. So it's special for you guys. And I always tell people, you know what, I'm here capturing the moments,
Yeah.
as well. The moments, the special moments. It's not all about the pose or this and that. So yeah, client expectations, man. You gotta kind of
They can
let
they
them know.
can get kind of crazy. I've had models that like want me to make their breasts bigger or their backsides bigger or more plump. I'm like, I don't do that. Like I agreed to shoot with you because I think you have an interesting look. I'm not interested in, and they're like, "Oh, so you can't do it?" I'm like, "No. I can do some pretty wicked stuff in Photoshop, but I'm not going to. If you want me to do that kind of stuff, like I'm sorry."
I don't even know how to do that. How the hell do you do that?
It's annoying.
Is it the
It's
liquefy feature?
Well, actually, I don't even know if I can. That I was about to do it. I don't even know if I can
Yeah.
anymore. I haven't
I mean,
messed with that in like 10
hon-
years.
honestly, I tell them I don't even know how to do that. No, I don't. I don't. I really don't know. So,
You
uh,
can you can do like some stretching. Like stretching is like one way to do it. They use it in the painterly effect. And you can kind of control how much it's doing, but it doesn't work for like highly textured things. It smears. But there's
look,
more than one way to do it.
we're photographers. We're not graphic designers.
That's what I'm
Okay,
saying, man. It's
that's
like
it.
if I want somebody that looks the way that you want to look, I'll go find that person. You know, But yeah, people have crazy expectations, man. I'll touch up your acne, but I've had it's like remove this birthmark. I'm like, no, get out of my studio then.
Here's
You
one
know?
thing that really ticks me off. Okay, I shoot an event, right, and I don't touch it for weeks, right, because I have other events that I need
Hmm.
to call and edit before this event. So I give them about a 2 week time period before they get their stuff, right?
Hmm.
So this day and age, you got Instagram and instant satisfaction, instant gratification,
Hmm.
and they're like, this next morning they wake up from the party, whatever. Hey, can you send me a few photos? I'm like, dude, I'm already on my next job, and I
Yeah.
told you that 2 weeks you're gonna get to see the photos in 2 weeks. But I want to post on my Instagram. Like, I want to post the shots. It's 2 weeks. It's gonna be old. Nobody's gonna want to see my photos. The party just happened, right? And it's hot and fresh in everybody's mind.
Right.
I'm like, man, I'm sorry, but I'm kind of busy right now. Now, if you have somebody doing these edits for you, maybe you should just call like 3 or 4 pictures and just send
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Just
But
smack those out real quick.
Yeah, but a lot of photographers are one man bands, so they're maybe shooting another wedding the next day. They can't really get to it. Now that's one thing that no one talks about. But the Instagram thing is like, that's totally like aggravating, where people want the pictures right away.
Hmm.
And the other thing that's kind of killing it is when they you know uh, I forgot what I was gonna say. It was a good point, but I forgot where I was going with this, because I was remembering a client that pissed me off, and it kind of threw me like off. So
Right.
I was making a good point. Actually, it was a good point.
Somehow Instagram and instant gratification.
Yeah, something about that.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, like chill, and then see some of these photographers, they're so like Instagram like centric,
Hmm.
that all they do is they want good stories. So
Yeah.
instead of capturing the moments, they're taking good Instagram photos for their
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
portfolio. It's like, man, when I'm in the zone, I'm always like taking shots. I'm not messing with Instagram. I'm not trying to post. That's why I hardly post anything.
Yeah. I
So
don't do any. I don't see. I'm a bit of a. It's weird because like with my editing style, I'm very much not a truist. I mean, I change everything. I change the greens to like a more of an orange sometimes, and sometimes I'll do a like a Black Paris style editing, and I usually isolate my backgrounds and I adjust the clarity and the texture separately from the subject. Like I put a lot of side work into my photos because like my whole thing is like my motto has always been I'm trying to create a world more beautiful than the one that I live in, right? The way I wish things looked with my, because like my eyes are terrible. I take these off and like I'm almost blind, right? And so I see a pretty crappy world, and whenever I put these on, things are still a little bit dull, so I want things to look more beautiful than my eyes can see them. But when it comes to cropping, it's like, don't you dare. I'm a truist. I got it where I want it. Most of the time, I don't crop because I frame, you know? But if I do crop it, maybe just straighten it up a little bit. Instagram is not, they do fine with my colors. You're not going to mess with my crop. Okay. I worked too hard getting this to look the way that I want it.
yeah,
Like, don't do it. And so that's why it goes on my website, and most of the time, if it goes on my website, I don't put it on YouTube, and everything else goes to YouTube. Like I don't like
yeah,
my photos getting messed with. I have a problem with a local model that likes to edit people's edits, and she likes to put it like a disgusting pink hue like across the entire thing. And it's like I don't know how many times I have to, like, do I have to take you to court or something to get you to like take these down, because you make my work look hideous. It's pink or a green hue or something. It's like,
yeah.
you know, I
That's
hate it. Don't touch
that's
my edits.
yeah. That's something that's there's like a silver lining when it comes to that, because if they paid you for the service, I tell clients, hey, they can do whatever the hell they want.
Hmm.
Just don't put my name on it if you're gonna
Yep.
ruin the image.
Yeah.
But some of these clients, they do these weird things with filters. It's like, why are
Yeah.
you oversaturating this image? It's nasty.
What they don't understand too is you already, like, if because I shoot in RAW, that means whenever I save it as a JPEG, all the information that was unneeded gets thrown out. Now you try to edit, you're basically editing a JPEG, and that never turns out well if you try to do something as severe as putting like a filter on it.
Yeah,
Because a filter is that makes a lot of changes. And so you usually end up destroying my shadows, which I worked for years to learn how to expose to have rich shadows that didn't get that, like I worked really, really hard on this bodyscape stuff. And now your skin is pink. You have any idea how hard I worked selecting the perfect lens that renders this is back in the DSLR days, the perfect skin tone lens that had a warm tone to it. And I put a lot of work making everything look nice and bronzy and beautiful. And now you just poop Barbie pink on it. It's like, how dare you? How dare you?
yeah. That's another thing that kind of ticks me off. And another thing that really ticks me off is when vendors use your photos, and it's like, hey, man, you can use them for your Instagram. That's fine. But at least tag me, at least tag me, tag the photographer.
Yes, something.
I had this one girl, she actually went the extra mile to cut off my watermark. She cropped it so my watermark doesn't show. And I was like,
Ooh,
dude,
it's so shitty.
like what the hell,
Now you're cropping it and removing my brand from it.
Yes, that's for you. That's like, heart attack. So it's like, dude, what the hell? And then these vendors, they want you to take the. It's like standard for them for you to share the images free.
Hmm.
It's like, hey man, do I come to your establishment and ask for a free service?
Yeah,
You
I
know,
don't walk in here and ask for a free beer in exchange for taking a picture of your beer.
right?
You
It's
know?
like, yeah. Well, they're just pictures. See, that's the thing with phones now. They've
Yeah.
diminished our work, our labor so much that they think that because they're taking okay shots with their phone, that being a photographer is no big deal.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
I do
Me,
too.
me and Ron Pollard had this discussion because he deals with, like, he has some nice high end client work,
Hmm.
and he was telling me that how much of a different world that is than events.
Yeah.
That's the contracts and this and that. Excuse me, detailed oriented. Everything is detailed and everything is just so dotting i's and crossing t's, or
Yeah.
those kind of clients. And it's like, wow, man. But see, I was telling him, and I'm going to tell you, his work, when he deals with clients like that, he has an opportunity to market that kind of work, and it might end up in a news article, it might end up in a museum, it might end up in a history book.
Yeah.
With your stuff, it might end up in a museum because you're doing these artistic images with bodies. Weddings, there's so much you can. I mean, yeah, you want to
It's
argue.
it's the difference between like a like a service and something else, you know. And so for me, that's like that's part of the reason why I quit doing work is because I got tired of like the service. Like I can't do what I want to do with the editing on a senior photo.
Yeah.
You know, you just can't. You can do some stuff and like I can make it look better than anybody else in my area that's shooting senior photos, but at the same time, like I can't get artistic with it because people are gonna be like, huh? You know, they're expecting sharp, colorful, nice outfit. You know, maybe if you're real crazy, maybe a little bit of wind blowing in the hair. But you start like desaturating the background separate from the, the subject or some stuff like that, they're gonna be like, huh?
Yeah, no. But what well, you made me think when you said the artistic bodyscape kind of thing,
Hmm.
because like wow, you can really like get in close, take pictures of the shape of the body. It's
Hmm.
just the lighting. That's cool. That's really, really
It's
cool.
so much fun. I actually did a trial run because one of my ambitions is to open up a studio space because I would really like to separate my YouTube from my home because I've always found the home to be the place to like relax, and I would love to have a space where I just work over here,
Yeah.
but I hang out here, and I want there. I need enough space to where I can actually have a studio space to do my work in. Because right now I just do it in a spare bedroom with a sheet hanging on the wall, black sheet, because my bodyscapes are generally pitch black background, you know, and so that's one of my ambitions is to have that. And what I would like to do, since nobody in this area shoots bodyscape except me, like nobody else is doing it, um, I decided to actually do a class earlier this year. And so I got a bunch of like local photographers and I got like the best photographers in the area because if I can teach the best photographers in the area and they can actually learn something, then I know I have something. And
Yeah.
so in the future, once I have this studio space, I would like to do small classes of people like this. This is how you do this because you're not going to learn it online because nobody's doing it online unless you do $500 for a course, you know, like a Matt Granger course that's very expensive and something like that. And you're also just watching it. You're not doing it,
Yeah.
you know?
No, I get it. So let me ask you something.
Sure.
Um, who is one of your favorite photographers that you say, dude, this guy is awesome? Like in the photography world, who is like your hero?
Um, his name slips me right now because I just discovered him, but it was actually one of Ansel Adams' apprentices. He's a Canon shooter. He still shoots, and he
Mm,
is remarkable. But his name does slip me at the moment. Um, his work is, I mean, you can tell that he learned from one of the greats, but it's
mm,
in the digital age,
mm,
right? And so it's got this the new look, not the film look, and it's beautiful, beautiful work. And oh, who's another one? Uh, honestly, right now, I'm telling you, my favorite photographer right now is um John Ishii's wife, Diana. Is that her name?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. John
Um,
is his wife. That's cool.
she is, dude, her. It's her
Yeah.
landscapes like boggle my head. They're so beautiful. She's
Oh,
one of my favorites right now.
that's
But
cool. He's gonna appreciate that you said that.
oh, I told him, I'm like, dude, where's your wife at? Tell her to come in here and teach us because we all got something to learn.
There's this one photographer that I follow on Instagram, and I mean, yeah, it's a little bit it's edited photos, but
Hmm.
is this guy's work just blows me away, man. Every time I want to show somebody the work, I forget his name, but because I just started following him,
Hmm.
but uh this guy is just like they look like storybook image, like it's just a fairy tale kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. What's his name?
Oh man. Hold on, let me what's his name? Good question. Here we go. I found him. Check this guy out, man. He labels himself as artistic photographer. Hold on. I don't know if you can see this, but
What's his name? Sergey?
yeah, his name is Sergey dot Ivanov dot photographer.
It does actually, you know, by the way, the name of Ansel Adams' apprentice that everybody should check out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look him up, Vahagan. I can't hardly see it.
Here, watch. Let's do this because I want to show the audience real quick. Hold on. How do you do that? There we go. So check this out. Hold on. Let me put the mic down.
That looks nice. Wow, I love it. Oh, you froze on me. There we go. Wow.
Look at this stuff.
Whoa.
I'm like, what?
He is so good. I gotta follow him now.
Dude, it's like crazy. Look at that, man.
Yeah, dude, that is beautiful, dude. Oh my gosh. Okay, his name is Sergey Ivanov.
Yeah.
Sergey Ivanov.
Look at this.
Dude, what?
I'm like, am I a photographer or what? After I was watching this,
did
I'm
that
like,
did that make you mad? It's like, okay, apparently I'm in the wrong system because it's not me that's the problem. That's so good that it's like
look at this, man.
oh man, it's beautiful.
What the hell is
And
this?
that's like a Picasso painting almost. Like as warped and twisted as it is.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what's this?
So
Look at this, man. Look at this.
it's dude, the backgrounds look so good, man.
That's
That's
sick, right?
it's that painterly effect. I'm actually teaching myself the painterly effect right now. It's a lot harder than you think. But yeah, the apprentice of Ansel Adam, his name is Sexton is his name. John Sexton. But I almost forgot my actual favorite photographer, and it has been for the last couple of years, is actually Martin Bachaj.
Mm.
He is insane. He has the most beautiful black and white. Um, bodyscape work, fine art nude work, portrait work. His black and whites are incredible. I don't know what he's doing to get such a beautifully silvery look unless he just knows a bunch of models with the perfect skin tone for metallic silver sheen. But
Yeah.
his work is beautiful.
Yeah, it's like when I look at these images, I go, man, yeah, of course these images take time to edit, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not straight from the camera, guys. But
No, absolutely not.
it's like a painting, man.
Yeah.
You know, you get it's like the photograph is a sketch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the work is actually editing the shot and making it look like a storybook, like you said, like fairy tale kind of stuff. And
There's different types of photographers, man. Like some photographers create their art and their composition and then finding the thing. And then there's photographers who really can find almost anything and their art is really in the processing. You know, and then there's some people that just slay both and I'm just like, what am I doing wrong? You know?
this is what I this is why I respect and appreciate Karsh, Joseph Karsh's work,
hmm
because in the old days there was no Photoshop, there's nothing. But
hmm
the guy is just and portraits. He's shooting portraits.
hmm
The guy was so good at the with the camera and the subject
hmm
that it just he's another legend photographer there, you know. And then he got the names, man. He was shooting celebrities, heads of state, Castro. Like he's got him. Einstein, he shot. Like the list goes on and on with this guy, you know, Josef Karsh.
hmm I love
K-A-R-S.
honestly, it's a little it might be a little cliche too, but I love Steve McCurry's portrait work.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. Oh yeah.
it's oh, dude, it's so beautiful. My actually probably my favorite photograph of all time. It's not the Afghan girl, but it has a name something like a mother and child looking through a rainy window. Like that's literally like the title of it, and that photo says nothing, but it's like heartbreaking. Like you can see the poverty, even though you don't know that it's poverty. You know,
Is
and
that
it's deep.
is that from McCurry?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I gotta check that out. Have you been to a website called uh Fearless? Fearless?
Fearless.
Fearless Photography.
No,
Check that out right now. Are you on the computer?
it can be. Let
I
me
want
pull
you to
this up
be
real quick.
I want you to be I want you to I want to see a reaction real
Here you
quick.
go. Uh this is Steve McCurry's. I don't know how good this is gonna look, but
Here,
focus, focus.
hold on.
I have to cover my face. Come on, come on.
Back it up a little bit. Where's your focus point?
It's on auto eye.
Oh, there we go. There you go. Wow.
You got to Google it, dude. The colors are just the color of the red is so beautiful. And he literally he didn't even know if he got that. They were just driving to location and the mother with the kid came up he assumed probably looking for some money or some food or something like that, and he literally turned threw his camera up and just took two exposures, didn't even adjust the light meter, nothing. Like he just didn't have time, and he was just like click click, sent off the film, had no idea if it was any good, and it's beautiful. I want it
See?
in my
Yeah.
house.
See?
Okay,
That
so who am I looking up?
Google Fearless Fearless photography or Fearless weddings. If you want to see inspirational wedding and event photography, creative wedding photography, it's
Best
amazing stuff.
best
Did you
wedding
find it?
photographers are fearless. Let's see.
Yeah, there's a bunch of photographers they submit. I don't know if this website's still around or if they're still submitting, but photographers are all over the world. They're it's called Fearless Awards.
Oh yeah,
They
yeah. I'm looking at it.
they submit these images and they win awards on the site. I don't know
Oh
how popular it is now, but there's some creative work on there, man. If you're looking at the same thing, but
yeah, yeah. There is some like off the stuff that you would never think. It's like, can I even deliver that to like a client? Like, would they even like that? Because it's not what they're expecting, but it would probably like blow their mind.
yeah. What's the
You know,
website called? Just for the audience?
fearlessphotographers.com, and
Okay.
you go over to photos and then fearless awards, and
Fearless Awards. Yeah.
it's they have collections as recently as August 2022.
Okay.
So I mean, they're still doing stuff. I just can't believe that these are. I mean,
Th-
most of these are weddings, and they're just like
They're all
bizarre.
weddings. They're events, right? They're weddings.
It's bizarre, dude. I love it though.
Do you see the creativity on that?
Damn it, Vahagan, you're gonna have. I'm gonna be laying in bed scrolling through this website whenever I should be going to bed for work in the morning. I'm
That's
just gonna be
creative.
like, dude, they got some cool stuff in there. You
Yeah.
know, that's part of the reason why I really wanted to get back to doing just what I wanted to do this year is because I felt my photography getting stale
Yes.
because I was doing a lot of client work and I was like, I need to get back to the basics. I need to, and I literally took a month and I didn't shoot for any other purpose except composition. And so I literally walked around for a month every single day looking for subframes, just the basic rules of composition, subframes, rule of thirds, rule of odds, like all these different things, back to the basics. And then I wasn't even editing these. I was just shooting them, doing the basic stuff, man. And then, after that, I started doing some portraits, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do weird poses. I have all kinds of oddball poses that look super cool now. It's like, dude, all this client work is just like running me dry because I know what they want. I can't give them what I want. I have to give them what they want. And so I was just like,
Yeah.
I've got to break away, man.
My biggest burnout factor is when I'm out of ideas. And when I'm with clients, it's like, okay, now what? You know what I mean? I'm not
Yeah.
inspired. I'm not creative, and it's like everything is just a traditional pose. And yeah, I mean, if you're not getting exciting clients too that have
Hmm.
no creativity and ideas, it could get challenging because you're always trying to outdo your last amazing shot,
Yeah.
instead of just being yourself and going with the flow. It's like, but that's one thing, that's one sign that you are getting burned out. Now, when I look at Fearless, when I look at these photographers around the globe, by the way, when I see this and I go, man, it's like this is creativity.
Yeah, dude. It's way outside the box. I
But
love that stuff.
but here's the thing. What do you think of this idea of hiring a photographer, right? And you
Hmm.
be the director? Like, if I didn't have a camera and I could just be there on the sidelines and just
Hmm.
coming up with ideas. Just my sole job is to come up with the pose, the idea, what to do next, without having to worry about cameras or lenses or hitting the shutter or setting the flash.
I bet that would be a very dangerous team.
Right? I mean, you're not shooting, you're directing.
Yeah.
You have photographers there, like the directors at movies. They don't handle the camera.
That would be a ton of fun if you get like some that's actually a really good business idea to it's like you, an experienced photographer, you've done your shooting, right?
Mhm.
You've done plenty of it. You know what you're doing, and now you hire on some like apprentice kind of or people that have been holding your lights for a long time, people you trust. You bring them on, and now they're learning from you as you're directing. Now, dude, you're getting to do all these ideas that you've always thought about, and now like your brand is all of a sudden, it doesn't really matter who the photographer is because the product is the product, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So who cares who pulls the trigger? You know,
See, that makes sense
that would be a good dynamic, man. I like that idea.
because look, when you're with gear, even when you're doing your photo shoots, with just photo shoots, you're worried about your gear, you're worried about your bag, you're worried about people in the background, you're
Yes.
worried about if you're not going to get jacked, you know five guys jumping out of a car and mugging you for your gear, right?
Hmm.
And it's happened a lot, by the way, in California. But um all that stuff, and plus, not only that, gear like on you, changing lenses, getting the flash right, getting the settings right.
Hmm.
Can you imagine if you were just the eye, you were just a director, you were there composing, coming up with great ideas. That's your brand. That's
Hmm.
who you're the director. And there you go, man. The work would be so much better.
I think it's really interesting. And I've seen it with like the guy, I forget his name, but he does all of the photography work for like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So all of the movie posters where you see with like the Avengers and stuff, he shoots phase one. And man, what a production he's got. He's got people running lights and stuff, and he's tethered, and he's got somebody on the computer, and he's like literally doing this, that, and the other. And he comes up, click, takes one picture, done. Like,
Now, are
whoa.
you know how much uh discussion that'd be? People online would probably not calling him a real photographer, and you didn't take the picture. And
I promise you that guy has forgotten more than anybody on YouTube has ever learned. Like that, you know how much experience you got to have to be like, nope, I can already tell that light. Yeah, hey, you know what? You need to move over here a quarter of an inch, or you're fired. You know,
yeah,
it's like I know what we're doing here. Blah blah blah, and then it's perfect. That
yeah,
level of experience is insane.
yeah,
You
but
know,
people would still call him a non-photographer if you just
they would
directing.
they would complain that phase one is too expensive, and instead of looking at the dang picture, that's YouTube.
Yeah.
I
Well,
have a guy attacking me in the comments today because I don't like a particular lens that he owns.
oh, I gave you some shit, man. I gave you some shit on that 35.
Oh,
Like,
did you? I didn't see that.
yeah, on Chuck's live. I think I did.
Oh, yeah, that 30. My problem with the 35 is it's just overpriced. If it was priced at the 500, it would still. I'd call it, like appropriately priced. But
Yeah, I think that 51.8 same price range, right?
yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
should be. I wouldn't complain as much because it's. I mean, yeah, it's Nikon's best 35 ever, but I didn't think their G series 35s. I didn't think they were that good. You know.
Yeah,
Did you see Canon's?
one
Canon's 35-1.8 is $2,100.
135.
Oh, I thought it was 35.
The new one?
I thought Jared Polin was talking today about because I was listening to the Photo News Fix and he was saying the 35 millimeter f1.8
Wow,
because they have a 35 f2, right?
no, it's a 135.
Okay, I must have misheard because I
Yeah.
was I was about to say like what
No,
Zeiss lenses aren't that much.
135. That's a new lens. 1.8. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So, man, gear is gear. I like Nikon. You like Nikon. I've used
I
them all.
I got away, and I should tell this to anybody who would be kind enough to go and check out my channel. I have gotten away from gear um almost entirely. Whenever I get new stuff, I'll review it. But I was a collector guy, right? I was a lens collector guy. I loved my lenses. This is back in like the DSLR days when lens choice mattered a lot more, right? And so uh I had like a gear meltdown and I just got rid of everything I don't use all the time. And that's part of the reason why it's like I'm not on Chuck's live streams like all the time. It's just because like I got burnt out on gear and I'm excited for the future of the Nikon Z mount. Like I really am. It's just I just don't want to talk about it anymore. It's like I just had a huge meltdown. I was like, this is all of it's gone. I had
Uh,
stuff that was in the mail. I didn't even open it. I sent it back. Like, you
Yeah.
know?
I rather see a discussion on, for example, this dude's work one day, and we just dissect his work. You know,
Mhm.
that'd be fun.
Yeah.
You just dissect the artistry in this wedding photographer I showed you.
Yeah. See, that's the kind of stuff I like. I love um the monthly photo reviews. I love that, man. I love seeing other people's work. That's like I said earlier, that's how I got started in photography. A lot of people don't start studying other people's work until they're already photographers,
But you know
you
what?
know.
One thing I would change from that is when Chuck says, no criticisms, this and that.
Hmm.
I would kind of want that. I mean, if I was a beginner, if I was like a hobbyist,
Yeah.
I would want that. I would want a professional critiquing my work because you
Yeah.
learn and then do it in a nice way. There's
Yeah.
I would like to just sit there and say, okay, this is cool, but try this or try this next time or you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
because I can pretty much tell what's done on purpose on a
Yeah.
photograph and what's kind of like not. you know, kind
Right.
of like overlooked or didn't realize, or the lines are crooked, or this is unnecessary. Why is this here? Like, right? So,
There's a little bit of criticism that comes in. Jeffrey has no problem saying I would have done this, but it's all done in a respective manner. But I would like to see a little bit of that, just not like as harsh as some people with like big hair. Like those are just like those are like almost mean, you know.
yeah,
Um,
no, not like that. But I can sit there and criticize a photograph, and but be not be professional about it. Say,
sure,
here's a
yeah.
thing. But I love doing that.
I like helping new photographers out with like black and white, and so because like black and white is something that I totally like. I slut out on black and white. I love black and white photography, and you know, like some new photographers will like come into the group or whatever. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna do this right here because I think it's gonna make a good black and white. I like stepping in at that point and be like, it's not, and here's why. You see how it's all red? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, it's gonna be all one shade. I
Mm,
said, what you want? You said you want some greens and you want some blues and you want a variety of colors because a lot of people when they first start doing black and white photography, they just hit black and white and then they adjust like their tones. They don't mess with the colors, and color is the most important thing in black and white.
yeah,
You know, yeah, it's grays and blacks and whites, but it's the colors have different tonalities to them, and so I get a lot of enjoyment out of like helping people like in the field, and I wish I could do more education on my channel. It just doesn't work, you know.
yeah.
It's a shame. I would love to do some lighting stuff, but like nobody cares, and it takes a lot of work
Yeah,
to make this stuff.
when I was starting out, I wish somebody can just look into my face and say, "You, this sucks." Oh, really? Why? Because I want to learn. This sucks.
Yeah,
I think people should honestly try to. I don't want to be mean about this next word I'm about to say, but some people need to grow a spine.
yeah.
Grow a pair.
Toughen up. You know,
Nothing
I've
up.
had I went out of my way because you know my mom, love her to death. She will always think my photography is fantastic. You know, my family will always think it's fantastic. And so, whenever I first started going to the meetups, part of the draw, because like I here about 2 years ago, I kind of wondered. I'm like, is my stuff really like? Is it anything really? Like, is it anything special? And still, I don't think it's there's so many better photographers out there and so many post processors, but I wanted to get around other photographers and I wanted other photographers to see my work because we were both there, we were both shooting. What did you end up with? What did I end up with? And that kind of helped me realize it's like, okay, I have, at least in my area, I have a look that somebody else doesn't have. And like I needed that even as like a 10-year, or at that time like an 8-year photography vet. It's like I still needed that little bit of exploration with other photographers to really see like what they think about my work and what I think about their work,
Yeah.
you know?
No, it's
And
important.
yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. You don't
It's
want to be
important.
cranking out the exact same thing as somebody else, you know? And I still, Vahagan, still to this day, I take pictures every single day. Most of them are throwaways. I just like to have a camera in my hands. And even if I'm taking junk photos, I take those junk photos and I do something with them in Photoshop or in Lightroom and I experiment with stuff. It's like, well, what happens if I remove, if I bring contrast down to 0 and throw clarity to 100? What does it look like?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people miss that. You know, it's like you can't lose the excitement for getting in and trying things. You know, my style basically, I say that I have a style right now, but next year my style is different. This year, off of YouTube, off of the photo shoots that I do, I've been preparing myself for next year's style, which is going to be a lot of painterly. I love the painterly look. I'm not particularly great at it, but I'm working on it. I'm doing small things, implementing small painterly things. Next thing is playing with textures in Photoshop, you know? And so, yeah, man,
Yeah.
you can't lose that excitement for trying things new if you're um like the kind of photographer that I am that just gave up on work, you know.
Yeah.
But you should still, I mean, still experiment like in your
Yeah,
time, you know?
don't be afraid to try new things. But going back to what I was saying earlier
Yeah, I
about
got off track. Sorry.
no, it's okay. But going back to what I was saying about criticizing and being
Hmm.
criticized or constructive criticism, it's good. It's great. But at the same token, when somebody is just going to town with your photograph and being mean about it in an unjust way,
Hmm.
you can tell the real haters that don't care about you
Yeah.
versus somebody that's trying to help you out. Now, what I do is if somebody's saying something that really doesn't make sense, I go, you know what? Let me see your work.
Yeah.
No, let me see your work. Let me see if you're have the right to tell me that what you just said.
Right.
And you look at their work and it's like either non-existent or it's terrible.
Hmm.
And I only like if somebody criticizes my work and I see their work and it's excellent, it's like, yeah, man, you know what you're talking about, right?
Teach me.
Yes, please. But if somebody's just trying to be a jerk about things and saying things like, well, the eye is a little bit out of focus, of a bird flying out of the water or whatever, sometimes you miss those shot, but it's such a great shot that you post it anyway, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, yeah, this and
You
that.
know, this is gonna make me sound kind of mean, but I do say this from a position of humor because I do find it funny, and it's mostly funny because I don't know how to get real with people like this. And so to me, one of the funniest things is somebody who is not particularly great at photography yet. Okay, I'm not going to say that there's something that I call a playing photographer. And there's a
Mhm.
lot of photographers that play photographer. And so they use keywords out of place, you know? And that's humorous. And I don't know how to tell them that they're wrong because they're so passionate about about the bad work, you know? And so like they'll be like, "Yeah, this picture here," and they'll like show it to you on their phone. And it's just flat and like unedited. You know, it's just like a raw picture. They're like, "Yeah, I took this one here and I think it's sexual and violent and aggressive." Like, no, it's not. It's flat and you're in front of like a building. It's like a standard pose in front of a building. It's like
Yeah.
it's not there. Like it doesn't have a title yet. It doesn't express anything yet. But I think that's really funny. You know, I love the passion. I really do. But I don't know how to interrupt their passion and be like, try this.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I don't want to. I don't want to burst their bubble. You
No,
know,
I mean, if you're
but
coming from a good place,
yeah.
and that's totally, it's understandable, and it's great that you take your time to say, you know what, you can do this a little better. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, all same thing with YouTube. It's like I don't, you know, cla- um, I don't call myself the most technical savvy guy when it comes to camera gear.
Hmm.
I just like to take pictures. Like I like the more of the art of the photography and how the lighting is
Hmm.
versus like all the tech aspects of the sensor and how the speed and what kind of processor and how many ions or this and that. And I'm not like, I don't call myself one of those tech guys.
You're right.
And I'm okay with that. I know the camera, I know how to use I know lighting,
Hmm.
and I know when I see a when I take a picture of an awesome moment, that's when that gets me excited. Not how fast your camera is, or how many ions or dizons or whatever you want to
Right.
call them.
The bit depth per
Yes,
pixel per
yeah.
square inch. Like,
You know what? Throw all that away because I know this guy personally. I know him. He's so technical that
mhm.
he would just smoke anybody as far as like what the camera has, but he can't shoot for crap. Like he cannot shoot a good picture.
There's somebody on YouTube like that.
There's many on YouTube like that.
Yeah.
I can't shoot. So it's like, yeah, the camera, but there's many people on YouTube, especially when it comes to video.
Hmm.
Because video, you're like all this technical stuff going on, but they don't show work. They don't film.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let me see your stuff. I want to see your stuff.
That's like for me, like the big change in direction for my YouTube channel came with the fact, like, I realized one day that a lot of my subscribers actually have never seen my work. You know, like my editing style has been the way it's been for at least the last half or 2 years, really since I started the YouTube channel, you know? And people hadn't really seen that because right off the bat, I was so, I was like a lens guy, you know, and I was so into the lenses and like the construction, it interested me. And then once once I really got heavily into mirrorless, the Z mirrorless, the only thing that the Z lenses are lacking is that traditional character that came with. There's a few exceptions, but for the most part, lenses don't have character anymore in exchange for pretty much optical perfection. And I started looking at the specs of some of these lenses. I don't know what these coatings are anymore. And then the
Yeah.
51-2 came out, and it's like I don't know how that has so much character because it has so much glass in it. And as far as everything I've learned over the last 8 years before I got into mirrorless, like nothing makes sense anymore. And it killed my interest. And it became like gear became less interesting. And that's kind of why I had my meltdown. And then I realized I was like, all of these gear videos that I have are crappy photos. They're technical photos looking at the sharpness of the lens. And I haven't done much anything else. I'm putting out mediocre work for the sake of content.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's disgusting. Now I have built my channel on this mediocre technical jargon nonsense that I never intended it to be anyway, you know?
Well, that's because I mean, when you're testing a lens for a review,
Hmm.
there's really like you know, everybody does that. Everybody takes pictures of walls, trees, rocks.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something to show off about,
Hmm.
but that's just something that, you know, it's there. You want to get this review out, and I'll take a picture of this tree or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm guilty of a lot of that because, you know, I just yeah, I know what you're saying about showing your best, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's not. You're not in YouTube, and
Yeah.
really, like, my whole argument is, okay, you're recommending me to buy this lens versus this lens, right?
Hmm.
uh Under what grounds? Like, why do you,
Right.
like, you're not doing anything with these lenses, so
Yeah.
why are you just from the stats on the paper you're recommending? What about just going out and using it, showing me why I should buy this lens versus that one? Why do you say this camera sucks and this one doesn't?
Yeah.
Because of the specs? Have you used this camera? Like, let me see your work. That's what I'm saying. If somebody recommends me a lens, have you used the lens?
Yeah. Yeah. Do,
So
do, do you like what do you put on the function buttons? Like, what do you do? Like, how do you shoot? Like, what kind of aperture do you generally shoot this lens in? Like, instead of like, yeah, this is an element count. I just got tired of doing that stuff. And I decided the way I compensated for that, because like I don't want to get like I still like showing off like new gear because I'm in a advantageous position where it's like I don't have any kids. I'm not married. My rent is really cheap, and so I usually get the new stuff that I want fast, right? Because I have, like I said, my expenses in life are like so low, and so I can get these things quick. And I still like doing the unboxings. I get to bring out some of my humor, but at least once a week, I started putting in like actual stuff that I'm actually doing. And part of it was, yeah, the gear burnout. And then another part of it was I had a comment that it didn't offend me, but it kind of lit a fire under me. Somebody, like, it was something simple, like just some jerk drifted in that I've never seen before or again. And he was like, oh, great, another talking head. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I am an effing photographer and I'm a good one. And I'm going to start getting out there and I'm going to show people, like, not just that I went out and I did this shoot and I had some like mediocre shots, you know? It's like, no, I'm putting the best stuff from the shoot in a sequence that matches up with the music. The beats are there. And I started putting work into it. And yeah, it's a display of the work, but there's like I think I have really like good music. Like, I find good music for my photo videos. And I was like,
yeah.
yeah, not anymore. You don't know me. I'm a real photographer. I was doing this a long time before YouTube, you
Yeah,
know?
man. I mean, like I said, man, there's a lot of characters out there, and I appreciate them all the trolls, all the good people.
The trolls are good for the algorithm, man. I love the arguments in my comment section.
The negative people, come on. Leave us a comment.
Bring it all down. If you
Hey,
want,
man.
if you got a problem with me, let's go out in the field. You give me a D3200. You pick whatever you want and see what happens. Let's do it. We'll make content out of it.
All right, man. Before we wrap this up, Zach, you have your wig? Where's ZWade?
She's on the floor. Would you like me to grab ZWade?
Yes.
Okay.
Zach, we have this inside joke on the chat at AP Studios. Here we go. Ready? Hold on.
Oh, my hairline is screwed up.
Hold on. Oh, man. All right, ready? ZWade, ladies and gentlemen, from Wichita, shooting his Nikon Z9. ZWade. Oh, nice hat. WWF.
Oh,
this was a lot of fun, man. It was good insight, man. It was a good talk. We talked
yeah, man, it was fun.
about a lot of things. And for somebody that's a photographer in the industry, a hobbyist, professional, beginner, I think there's a lot you can get out of this one, So
I appreciate that. It's very kind of you.
Yeah, no, thank you, man. This was fun. Vahagraphy Talk number 50, man. This will also be streamed on my podcast, Vahagraphy Rock and Roll Photo Podcast on Apple Podcast. So check that out. Premiering tomorrow. So we'll set that up. And again, man, ZWade, thank you so much. Any last comments or words?
I just invite everybody to check out my YouTube for one, but more importantly, check out my website, ZWadePhoto.com, because that's where the most pride of my work. It's my favorite stuff at any given point is going to be right there. We can talk gear all day, but we can go out and do these live shoots, but nothing is as important as the stuff that a photographer takes the most pride in, and everything you see there is worthy of being on my walls, and that's the most important thing is the most important work to an individual. And I also want to invite everybody to check out, all of our friends, AP Studios and Selective Imagery, all those guys. Come by on Saturday at AP Studios and see all of our friends. It's an awesome community, and subscribe to everybody in there. We have a lot of fun, just like me and Vahagan had tonight. Every single Saturday and Wednesday, it's a hoot. So
yeah, it's Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 Eastern, and Saturday 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern. Right?
That's
Am I saying that right?
I think that's right.
That's AP Studios, Chuck. And also, one more time, what's your website?
ZWadePhoto.com.
And your YouTube channel?
ZWade Photo.
ZWade Photo. All right, man. Excellent. Thank you so much, man. And subscribe to Vahagraphy. This was Vahagraphy Talk number 50. We did 50 of these, and I'm having fun. Once again, I want to thank my 5.0.
Hey, Vahagan, now me and you need to collaborate on a little piece of music. I'll send you the guitar tracks. You put some drums to it.
Hey, man, I got a question for you before we head out.
Yeah.
You remind me of Stu Blue.
Really? How so?
I don't know, just your antics and
just the energy and the
I think you
silliness.
What happened to that guy?
I don't know. I don't know what happened to Stu Blue.
That sucks, man, because I really like this content too.
I did too, man. He's a goofy guy, man. I liked his stuff a lot.
Him, Bayou Josh, he's not doing anything.
There's several people that I haven't seen a lot from that I miss. I actually don't see a whole lot of Photo Me Ike doesn't get, if he's doing stuff, it's not getting recommended to me unless
Yeah,
YouTube
no,
kicked
he's still doing stuff. Ryan Troy has
Ryan Troy's kind of disappeared
he,
from my
he
feed too.
yeah, he hasn't made a video in a while. But
Come back, guys. We miss you.
who's starting to do this more often now is Frames from India.
Yeah. Frames. And
Yeah.
I've been seeing the team mid's been cranking too.
Oh yeah, teammate every day.
Yeah, dude.
Every day, but
I don't think he sleeps. I don't think you sleep either, Vahagan.
no, I get my sleep. I get my sleep. But yeah. Anyway, ZWade, thank you, man. This
Yeah,
was
thanks for having
awesome.
me.
Anyway, guys, like, subscribe, leave us a comment, man. If you guys enjoy this, leave us a comment down below. We'd love to hear what you have to say. If you agree, if you disagree with us, we'd love to hear it. Leave that comment. Check out ZWade's YouTube channel. Show him some love. Go there and subscribe. Subscribe because he puts out content. You want to hear what he has to say and what he has to show you guys, because that's a lot of useful information for photographers and for about life too. So
Yeah.
check that out, man. ZWade at ZWade Photo on YouTube, and check out his website. All right, guys, thank you for watching. This has been Vahagraphy Talk number 50. Check us out on the podcast, and we'll see you guys next time. And remember always to rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
Hey, what's good, guys? Vahagan here from Vahagraphy. If you like more rockin' videos like this one, go ahead and check the videos on the screen and subscribe to this channel, Vahagraphy. Rock and roll.